Record on this computer. And okay, we're good. Okay, so Dave, you were talking about Lex.
Yes. So last night I was doing some work for my company, and I was listening to this podcast with Lex Friedman and George Hotz,
I
and
love those two.
yeah, they're fantastic. But
Yeah.
one of the things that really struck me at the end of the podcast was they were talking about they get all these questions about like, how do I get into data mining? How do I get into machine learning? How do I get into hacking? How do I get into programming? And they said something where they were like, we're not trying to be mean, but this is the truth. And the two takeaways from that were Google everything. Google
Mhm.
everything until your hands hurt and
No.
just try it. Um,
Yes. Oh.
and that really struck with me because
Mm.
um, I at my school tend to be the one who knows a lot about Python, and I know
Mhm.
a lot about hacking and networking, but I really don't. All I
Mhm.
really know is that I can Google this, and here's this cool blog or something like that,
Mhm.
and I've read it, and now I have a framework to understand things a little more, right? Like
Yeah.
well, what is a lot of these exploits? Okay, well, these are just misconfigurations in the way that software is, or these are
Mhm.
misconfigured ports, or these are default credentials. These are a lot of the main attacks that you see out there are actually low hanging fruit attacks. You're
Mhm.
not really ever going to see something that's fully out there and way above the board.
Mhm.
And that really struck with me because it's like I've been studying and learning and practicing, and I'm thinking, oh, I'm not doing enough. Well, maybe I
Mhm.
actually am, because
Mhm.
yeah, I work at my job, but I'm slowly turning it in that my off time is now, oh, go look up that blog that
Mhm.
you were looking at the other day and actually sit down and try it, right? So
Exactly.
go spin up a digital ocean box and see if you can get that tool to work, and see if you can, I don't know, fish yourself, see if you can gain an exploit to it. Just go try it. That's all there really is to it. There's nothing beyond it. There's no magic, there's no
Yeah.
secret tricks. Like, if you read a self-help book, what they were talking about in there just blew me away. They were like, a self-help book is really only to make you feel good. So if you're watching a video about like, how do I be a better programmer, or how do I be a better
Mhm.
hacker, you're really only doing that so you can feel better about yourself. You're not actually going to learn
Mhm.
anything. The only
Mhm.
way to learn is to fail, and fail hard.
Yes. Thank
Um,
you. I love it.
my first Cyberforce contest, I failed hard. I
Yes.
walked in there like fresh off reading some books, and I thought like, oh, cool, I'll get some stuff. And I was in panic mode.
Sure.
I was just myself. My partner had quit. Um,
Yeah.
so I ended up actually just asking all these other high level hackers from the Department of Energy, like, hey, how do I do this? Hey, how do I do that? Hey, how do I do this? Hey, what can I help you with? And in the end, yeah, maybe I was just, sheep, herding, different shells.
Yeah.
Here's this shell, go stick it on a system. Tell me when you have access.
Mhm.
Or, hey, go add this line to a file. But in doing that, I actually learned a lot, A, about the process, and B, about the process of being in a team.
Mhm.
And that's and so that mantra of just Google it, just go
Totally.
figure it out. Like,
Yeah.
that's difficult. Like,
Uh-huh.
and I'm doing that at school, right? Like, somebody at school was like, hey Dave, how do I refactor Python 2 to Python 3? And I was like, I don't know, let's see what Google says. So I
Exactly.
typed in how to refactor, and it told me about this pip package, pip 2 to 3. So I was like,
Yeah.
here, install this pip package, because I had actually used that package before and I had just forgotten about it.
Yeah.
So that's what a lot of it is. I mean, we live in an information economy. We live in the information age, and I
Mhm.
think a lot of what I personally see, I don't know about everybody else, is that they get scared. of
Yeah,
the whole, like, I'm going to try this and it's going to fail. And it's like,
mhm,
yes, it should fail.
exactly,
And then when it fails, you take that error code and you stick it into Google. That's
exactly.
that's kind of it.
That's the magic. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I love what you're saying, because this is the whole reason why I'm doing this. And other people think, oh, you guys are just doing some very basic stuff, but actually, this is what separates being able to do it and knowing it, and then
Right.
developing on it to more advanced stuff versus people who never try. And this goes back to what you said earlier about self-help books. And I heard from this one really good smart guy, and I think he said something along the lines of, you have sort of activities that looks like you're doing something, but you're not actually doing anything. But it makes you feel like you're reading stuff. You're like, oh, I read it, so I know it. That's according to what their mind. But there's a huge leap between just reading something and actually trying it on an actual system. And this is why I really love this learning group that we're doing here, right? Is we're going through that process, and we're sort of showing other people that, hey, we're really no one special, like you're saying. We just actually do it. And that's why other people's like, wow, you actually know all this stuff. It's because of this long trial and error process, right? Of actually
Right.
doing it, and failure is okay. And that's why I was so fortunate to hook up with you at the Cyber Force competition, right? And we sort of saw really eye to eye in a lot of these topics. So I'm
Yes.
really happy about that. So
Yeah.
that's really cool.
And
Uh,
I'm really happy to be here too, Candy.
mhm,
And that's, I have some demos that I'm going to try today,
uh-huh,
and they're probably going to fail magnificently, but that's okay,
uh-huh. Yeah,
because I learned an important rule, an important
yeah.
lesson. And I think the more lessons that you learn, because really, what are we really doing this for? Well, yeah, we're doing it to play games, but
Mhm,
we also have professional lives too.
mhm, mhm.
And if you are in a professional setting and you are not willing to say, like, yep, it's screwed up and it's my fault,
Yeah,
or yep, it's screwed up and I have no idea why it's broken,
yeah.
no one's going to respect you.
True.
I started as an intern at
Yeah.
my company, a paid intern, and then the pandemic hit, and now I have a job. But that's because I kept screwing things up, and I would
Uh-huh.
always be like, "Hey, here's a Word doc of how I broke it, and here's what I think I need to do." And I mean, I was no one special. I just Googled. Like,
Mhm,
they literally would ask me every day, Dave, how did you solve that problem? And I'm like,
mhm,
here's some links I found in Google. Here's the Google
mhm.
search terms that I used.
Totally.
And that's it. Like, that's
Yeah.
all there is to it. I
Mhm,
don't have any special magic. I don't have any special skills. I just can Google really, really well. And
mhm,
maybe that is my skill, but that's the bottom line. And I think that mentality that I learned
mhm.
was because of Cyberforce, was
Nice.
because of the cybersecurity contest. It wasn't so much I learned how to be a fabulous, you know, awesome hacker, like, no, all I did learn was it's okay if you don't know things. Everybody else is trying, and as
Mhm.
long as you're trying, you're going to keep rising. So
Yes.
that's my final thought on that.
Awesome. I love it. Okay, let's see here.